Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who's about to dance a jig. It's Tom Tresimer.
Friday night's a great night for football. It's gonna be a hell of a night. We got a great night of football tonight.
Whoa.
That's my Bill Medley,
If I ever
righteous
start a
brother.
football league, you are going to write the song and sing it.
Yes.
Please. Yeah. Oh, watching this movie again, Tom, it reminded me when I watched it like back in the day when I was young, maybe 10, 12, and just remembering how like out of my league it is. Like I watched this probably when I was 10 or 11, and I was like, oh, it's a guy from Die Hard. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be like a cheeky movie. And then I watched it, and it's just this crazy dark movie where I just wasn't. I distinctly remember. I forget about most of the movies I watch, but I'll always remember the feeling of just going like, this movie's out of my league. Well, for at least a 10-year-old me, but it's fun to revisit. It's better looking than I remembered. It's gorgeous to look at, and the behind the scenes problems are like will give us plenty to talk about.
That's kind of funny because I'm in a similar situation. I saw it probably around that age as well. So for me, it would have been like late 90s. Yeah, probably like 90, 98, 99, somewhere in there. And it's like I was a huge Bruce Willis fan, diehard fan. And so then I started jumping back into his filmography, and that's when I fell into this. And what I remember most, and I think I saw it on like Encore. So like I had an old tube TV, and I would have to change the dial. It had a dial to 13, and I remember watching it on there, and it was the intro with Billy Blanks as Billy Cole, the
Yeah.
running back,
Oh,
and that's how the movie kicks off. And I was like, this is really, really dark and really intense and really violent. And I am going to really like it. And I still do.
they call it a buddy action comedy film, and that's that's not selling it. I think you could maybe watch Lethal Weapon, which Shane Black wrote, or The Nice Guys, and kind of or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This one is a kind of not neo noir, but yeah, I mean you have detectives. Like it's a really grimy, gritty neo noir that looks gorgeous, and it's just kind of like a grimy, nasty little thing. And it's
Yeah. And everyone is just really brutal and violent and cusses up a storm.
and you know what I love in Lethal Weapon? Danny Glover has a family, great family. Mel Gibson's depressed. In this movie, I mean, just Joe Hallenbach, he's the worst. Secret Service, got shot, got fired. He's always drunk, never home. His daughter swears at him. He's bottom of the barrel. He can barely move. Dead rats get thrown at him. And then you have James Alexander, like Jimmy Dix, and his wife died. His unborn child died. He has a coke addict. He has pain medication that he needs. His body's shot. His girlfriend's killed. He's drinking too much. He's banned from the league, and they team up. And it's one of the strangest team ups because normally you have, normally they're like polar opposites, but both these guys are in the gutter, and then they team up, and then they clash, of
They're
course. But it's a really different take on it.
they're much more similar than what you would normally get. Like the buddy cop stuff works because, as you said, it's two opposites that somehow work. But these guys are so similar, as you pointed out, that they're forced to find some sort of common ground. And in this case, it's solving Jimmy Dix's stripper girlfriend's murder, and then trying to figure out the sports corruption on top of all of that and what's going on with it.
And I love too that Halle Berry, she's in this movie as Corey. She gets killed because she blackmails a millionaire. Like it's not because she just saw a murder. Like this isn't The Client. This isn't one of those films. Like she actively blackmailed a terrible man, and she was trying to do something great, and then she was killed. So it's like it's really it's just
There's not too many redemptive arcs in it. And so it's
yeah.
interesting, like you brought up like the neo-noir stuff, which is generally those classifications are like really deprived, loathed individuals, what we have, but then everything like spirals out of control and there's like never a happy ending to it. Whereas like it kind of feels like it's in that middle ground between like hard-boiled fiction and film noir, where you've got these, as you said, bottom of the barrel anti-heroes that are trying to find some sort of redemption and validation in their lives.
And they find it. Joe's marriage gets better. I think Jimmy could maybe get back in the league. Like they're gonna have a detective. Oh, he got shot in the hand, but like at the end of the movie, they're better off, which is rare for noir because I feel like in most noir, the detective's always less shot in the gut by a femme fatale, and he's
Yeah.
bleeding out. This one, I think, Joe's gonna have a better relationship with his daughter. He's gonna have a better relationship with his wife, even though she was sleeping with a guy whose best friend then tried to kill him, but he was terrible to his wife, so you kind of get it. But like everyone's life seems better, except for
At
Halle
least in
Berry,
that
who just gets
moment.
murdered and forgotten about um, in this film.
Yeah, but that was only like her second film anyways.
That's
So
true. And listen, if you're gonna have a movie to hinge, like we got to find out who killed her. Bring in Halle Berry for 10 minutes because then you're like, oh, okay, like we know now why they want to solve. Like you really like her, and like she pops in the 10 minutes she's in, and then when she gets popped, you're like, yeah, solve her murder, like get her back.
she does make the most of it. She's only in a handful of scenes, and I think there were quite a few. I won't say quite a few, but I'm sure there were a handful more scenes with her that ended up on the editing room floor. But yeah, she makes the most of what she's got. Not forgetting the dancing sequences and whatnot. But no, it's good stuff, and it's funny. She came out with an interview. I want to say it was around the time of Perfect Stranger with her and Willis that this was her pretty much her intro into big budget Hollywood, and that Bruce just didn't really acknowledge her whatsoever, and how she kind of felt slighted by that. At the same time, it's like you're probably only there for a handful of days, really, and from what I read, it's like a 90-day shoot. That is a long, long principal photography period.
And Danielle Harris said in her first scene with Bruce, he looked at her and went, "Don't upstage me." That's what he said to her.
And
He goes,
I
"Kid,
saw
this is
that
my movie.
too.
Don't upstage me." And then like
She took it as a compliment, though, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
I
Like,
hope.
and he
Maybe
also
not.
said he was doing so many movies at the time that he was like, there were times when I was less than humble. He told Playboy David Sheaf in 2007, reflecting on his a-hole years. There were times when I was less gracious. There were years when I worked the entire calendar year just going from film to film, and I was moving fast and was unappreciative of the people around me. Maybe it was arrogance or defensiveness, and I was protected by a group of people who kept me walled in. My default mode now is to be appreciative that I'm here. But yeah, this is when he was working all the time. And so you're right. Like we've sat on film sets, new people show up sometimes, and you're like, ugh, I just don't want to deal with that. And so he's probably bouncing around from film to film. He's also like, what's crazy too? Tony Scott was at the height of his powers. Shane Black was at the height of his powers. Joel Silver was at the height of his powers. Bruce Willis was at the height of his powers. Huge names. And all of them were like arguing about what the movie should be. And like even Tony Scott didn't really have much of a say. And so it's kind of crazy. Like Damon Wayans wasn't happy on it. And like, but the end product is good. This is a good movie, despite
Well,
having like Tony Scott, I guess, shot so much footage that the editors almost went insane. Like they
and
said that
they went through three or four different editors. They brought in I'd have to look up his name, some big editorial fixer to pretty much fix the mess that they had created because Scott just goes bananas with his cameras. Like everything is rolling 24/7 all the time. He's got 50 different cameras set up doing all these different takes, all these different angles, and I guess they just couldn't wrap their mind around it. And so a vast majority of the movie just ended up on the floor, and it sucks. I would have loved to see a director's cut. And on top of that, I guess they had massive problems keeping this thing just rated R, which kind of blows my mind looking back 30 years ago what it was and now more or less what they classify as rated R movies now. I guess it was just far too gory and graphic. But then, we've got Saw and all these horror slasher movies. But it's just interesting. They had a really tough time knocking this thing down below NC-17 into that rated R status.
I mean, that makes sense though, because this movie is just drenched in grime. It is like there's a scene where a guy's just drowning a woman in a jacuzzi, and he's like, "I won't let her up until she does something." Like he's probably gonna kill her. He's just casually torturing a woman in a scene. This is like and that's every scene of this movie. It is
It's
And
And I
some
guess it was far worse than that too. And with what Shane Black had written, like he put in like there were going to be like snuff films and torture sequences, like some really wild, crazy stuff.
oh man. And yeah, and the wife was kidnapped and Bruce didn't want to do that again. So then the daughter gets kidnapped. But Danielle Harris is great. Like I remember watching this movie, I'm like, this girl rocks. Like she's really good. I hadn't seen the Halloween films yet, and I liked her a lot in this movie. And I think Damon Wayans is really good in it. And you know what I love about this film? I feel like everyone hated making it. The editors hated editing it. The score, the person didn't even want to do the score. They got brought in. Mountains of footage is shot. Tony Scott says the original script is better. Damon Wayans doesn't talk about it. Halle Berry's not too happy about it, but yet it's still a cult classic. I would say. I don't think it's like tier one of the '90s genre, but it's still a like you tell the Last Boy Scout to somebody and they're like, yeah, like that movie rocks. But it's
Yeah,
just
it's very underrated. I mean, it got pooped on hardcore by critics at the time. With now it's got it up as a 43%, but then IMDb has it a user rating score of 7.0 out of 10.
oh, that's good.
So it's I mean it's one of those early 90 examples, or even I would just say one of those examples years ago of the audience just not being in sync with what critics want. But I also read an interesting review yesterday that this guy's theory that it was pooped on so hard by critics was
Shane
because
Black.
of Shane Black,
Yeah.
and the purchasing fee for this script at that time set a record at $1.75 million dollars. And perhaps a lot of people were really jealous over this, that they kind of gaslighted the reviews of it, notwithstanding the tumultuous, it's not even a word,
Tumultuous.
tumultuous, yes, tumultuous production experience behind it. You know, funny note though, Black only had that record for a few months before Basic Instinct came along.
And here's the thing that's crazy is like remember in the '90s when Waterworld everyone hated it because it was expensive. Like I feel like that was a time when people it's kind of odd. They're like, this is the budget. I hate it. Or this person was paid. Jim Carrey was paid 20 million for the Cable Guy. I hate it. Like it's like it doesn't affect you at all. But for some reason, people were really mad about it. And I think that followed Shane Black around, like the last action hero, and then he did
Long
what's
Kiss
Long
Goodnight.
Kiss Goodnight, which rocks. But that had the double whammy. That movie's really good. And it's really bleak and ugly and violent. But that was coming off of Cutthroat Island, and Shane Black had the negative buzz. So that one got kind of written off as well, but that was really good. So it's kind of interesting watching Shane Black, how like the ebbs and flows of his career, because yeah, people definitely had something out for this film.
Yeah, and it's on piggybacking off of Black, like it took him a long time after, this Last Action Hero, and then yeah, Long Kiss Goodnight, which I enjoy all those movies, and they all did okay at the box office. They weren't box office smashes by any means, but I think they at least made their money back. Yeah, it took him a long time to really get back into the good graces of Hollywood to get another shot. And so what was it, like 2004 or 5 when Kiss Kiss Bang Bang came
Yeah.
out, and that kind of started to revitalize his career, but it wasn't up until like Iron Man 3 where he really got a big break again.
And then he
But
kind of killed
it's
it with Predators.
yeah, so he shot himself in the foot with that one.
Nice Guys is great.
I love Nice Guys. That's an all-time favorite.
You know what's interesting about Lethal Weapon though? So he wrote Lethal Weapon, and that's very mainstream. Just two cops, one's suicidal, one's crazy, one's a family guy, and then they got to chase some people down. There's not too many twists and turns in it. So then when you go to watch this one, you kind of think like, oh, this is just going to be a straightforward film. But you have a guy who's a drunk who wakes up with a rat on him. His daughter yells at him. His wife's cheating on him. Then he blows up, and then we're introduced to a new guy who's just as like terrible. Then his girlfriend gets murdered, and then they meet this one guy, Kim Coates, who kidnaps him and throws him off a thing, and then they bring in Milo, who's incredible, but then Milo pops up and he's dangerous. But then they go into the woods and they have a little bear and they murder somebody, and then they got to go drive to a stadium, but then they get kidnapped again in the stadium, and then they split up, and then a guy blows up, and then a guy gets hit in the face with a football on a horse. It's like what's nice, I think people went into it maybe expecting a like Die Hard or a Lethal Weapon, and then they got this. Do you think that could have hurt the critical scores as well? Because there's not much, like the lines are really funny, and everyone has a personality in it, and you can have a good time with it. But do you think maybe it caught people off guard with just how
I
grimy it was?
I do. I mean, you go back and you watch the trailer, and they label this as, you know, a buddy cop action comedy. And yes, there's comedic moments, but it's also very dark humor that's in it. And that's not everybody's cup of tea. It's mine. I love that type of stuff. But it's very bleak. And the humor, at least some of the humor, is based on like the exaggerating events that are going on and like how over the top some of this stuff gets while still keeping a serious tone. So you got to be in a certain mindset for this type of film. But yeah, I do think that hurt it. Yeah, they're labeling it, and it's not that type of movie either. And it's, yeah, and you got to question too if Tony Scott was perhaps the right choice for this, because then on top of Black's really complex script, it feels like Tony Scott just wants to get to the action. Like he's letting the actors have their moments and this fun banter going on, but then he you can tell like it really comes alive when the action pops up. So in my mind, you know, I love Tony Scott's movies as well, but they're not necessarily the deepest films around either. And this one has a lot of sub layers to it that they just never really get a chance to dive into.
Do you think like everyone had their say on this film? Do you think that's why that it's kind of a little bit Frankenstein? Because you got to have the Tony Scott look, lots of smoke, lots of fog, lots of light, lots of gorgeous shots. There's a shot outside of the police department where Damon Wayans is waiting for Bruce Willis, and it's like a gorgeous shot.
And that's
uh
the Beverly Hills Cop police
yep, Beverly
station.
Hills Cop. Yep, good old. He didn't direct the first one, but he did the second one. And you know what though? But Tony Scott directed Beverly Hills Cop 2, and that was fun. But you know what though? It's not as interesting. The first Beverly Hills Cop is all about the character interactions. It's about just letting Eddie Murphy eat and like letting everyone gel as characters. The second one's more about the Tony Scott style. So I guess when you make a Shane Black movie, like remember when of course you remember it, but Fincher made Social Network. I think
Hmm.
Fincher understood that it was going to be a Fincher movie, but the main draw was the Sorkin dialogue. So he created the film around the dialogue. Whereas I think this one's like a Tony Scott film with Shane Black dialogue, with Bruce Willis in it, with Damon Wayans, with some script rewrites, with Joe Silver just pounding stuff, like being a maniac on the side. And then it's a true hybrid, I would say, but it still works. If
It
you know,
is, yeah. It's a four-headed Frankenstein, as you said, between Black, Willis, Scott, and Joel Silver. Like just four alpha males clashing on a set together, as they say, too many cooks in the kitchen. I think that definitely applies here. And
Mhm.
then you've got Damon Wayans, who's, I wouldn't quite say at the height of his popularity then, but he was starting to reach stardom with In Living Color. Like he was becoming a household name, and he's looking for his big break into the movie industry here. And then, you know, that poor dude is just kind of saddled up with these yahoos, just trying to live through the experience and make it through while accidentally getting punched by Kim Coates.
It was slippery shoes. I love that interview. But I think Damon Wayans is really good in this as well. But the problem with Bruce Willis, I don't know if Bruce Willis is meant for buddy cop movies because his style doesn't lend to that. Like Die Hard's not a buddy cop movie. Die Hard 2 is not a buddy cop movie. Die Hard 3 is kind of a buddy movie, but the two energies work really well together with Sam Jackson. He's not like a wisecracker, Sam Jackson. He's super serious, and so is Willis. So I think when you're doing like a Nice Guys or a Lethal Weapon, like even he tried to do Cop Out. Remember when Bruce Willis did Cop Out and it
Hmm.
didn't do well? He's not, I don't know if he's the ultimate buddy cop guy or like the buddy action movie guy. Does that make
He's a
sense?
very
Because of his energy.
Yeah, he's very much a lone wolf in my opinion. Lone wolf guy who will team up if he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's got to be something really special for that stuff to work. I think Die Hard 3 works because it is really special and in that regard. And then you've got Sam Jackson, who It's A-lister at that time too, and he can hold his own. Not saying that Wayans can't hold his own in this movie, but yeah, it's just yeah, you're right. There's something with this that's just a little bit off with it. But I will say, I think this role as Joe Hallenbeck prepped him for Die Hard with a Vengeance because I feel like he could have walked off of this murder mystery. Joe Hallenbeck could have and just gone straight into John McClane's shoes because they're both just at the kind of the low point of their lives and then saving the day.
He's the greatest I'm hungover actor or I'm tired actor on the planet, or I'm just really tired of this. Like Bruce Willis, if I would love to see a supercut of him just being done with stuff. Like just all the Die Hard movies is like, oh, in this one, ugh, Die Hard 3, ugh, like even Fifth Element, he's just some cabbie driver, not too happy with everything. So I think it's kind of fun. He always gets kicked off the force too. Like Die Hard 3, wasn't he off the force? Wasn't he
Yeah.
on a break? And
Yeah,
then Fifth Element,
he was on like leave.
he's always on leave of something. And this one, he used to be Secret Service. So I find that interesting how with like Bruce
Yeah.
Willis, he was
Mercury Rising, he gets a crummy case that he's got to get involved with. Hostage, he's kind of a down on his luck. I believe he's a sheriff in that. 16 Blocks, he's a disgruntled old
oh
detective that they're
yeah.
trying to force out. And they're like, yeah, take this assignment so we can get rid of you type of deal.
And Unbreakable too. He's a kind of guy who's been hiding his powers, and so he's depressed. And Armageddon, he's like an angry dad widow who's tired of like just being on these things. I love it. Like that's very much so a Bruce Willis setup. Isn't Red? Isn't he kind of bummed out in Red?
Yeah, retired like retired CIA specialist type of deal. Yeah, just looking for a little spice in his life somewhere.
And 12 Monkeys, he's always tired in that one as well. And Pulp Fiction, he's a washed up boxer. That's why I
Yeah,
love Death
that's
Becomes Her so much, because that's maybe that and Hudson Hawk. Are those the two performances where he really goes for it? Maybe Blind Date,
yeah.
but then he goes back to like Whole Nine Yards. He's a retired hitman, which I kind of love.
He's pretty loosey-goosey in those movies.
Yeah, that's true. The first one, yeah, the first one's great. The second one, each. You know what? What are your favorite Bruce Willis performances? I like that's not Die Hard. I think Moonrise
Oh.
Kingdom, he's incredible in because he's very warm.
All right, now you put me on the spot. Let me
Like I
let me
think
fire something up.
I'm gonna go with Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Moonrise Kingdom. Those are my
I
picks.
don't
And
know.
I love him in what I just said, Death Becomes Her, because he's so out there.
Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Pulp Fiction's a cop out, but I do like that one for how just down on the luck he is.
Yeah.
And he steals most of the scenes within those movies as well. Um, man, boy, you got to go back a long time to find something good that aren't these
Yeah.
direct-to-video
Well,
things.
I think he was just making those because where he's at now.
Yeah,
I think he was just making as much money as possible while he could.
nope. Yeah,
And
I would agree with that.
yeah,
I actually really enjoyed him in the Expendables movies too. He
until he
was he was
quit.
fun as Mr. Church in those smaller roles, but they were good, and I think they capitalized on it. I think it was with Expendables 2, where you got some banter between him and Schwarzenegger driving around in that little tiny car together.
Oh yeah. And then they got rid of him for the third one, and they hated on him. And Harrison Ford made a comment. Stallone's like, "You're way better than the last one."
I mean, we forgot about Sin City. Like, you don't get any more down on your luck than what he is in that one
Yeah,
too.
yeah, you're right. But he's perfect at that. Like I think he's at his best when he's rubbing his temples with a 2 day old beard, 3 day old beard in his clothes that he
Popping
slept in the night before, and just
popping
rubbing his temples.
Tylenol like they're sweet tarts. Yeah, that's pretty much what he does. Like every at the start of every scene, you can just see like he's just like, good God, why did I wake up this morning?
And you know what I love too? Like this movie's so bleak, The Last Boy Scout, that clues are found when Jimmy Dix goes to find his drugs and he finds the tape by accident. Like it's one of those movies where good things happen when you look for drugs.
And don't forget, fast forward eats the tape.
You know what annoys me the most about this movie though is I know that Joe's mad that Jimmy's doing drugs in his house, but Joe is the worst. He's a terrible husband. He's a bad dad. He's clearly drunk. He's down on his luck. I don't know how they pay the bills. He is he's not I mean, I know he knocked out the senator when he's doing that to that woman, so maybe at his heart, but he's like terrible to his daughter. She just has to call him sir. He's mad at his wife, even though he's like never around. And then he gets pissed that Jimmy is doing drugs in his bathroom. But I mean, I guess, sure. I guess if you're like that with everyone, you can be mad at someone for doing drugs in your bathroom. But he's very self righteous almost.
He's got
No.
a morally flexible compass that does not sway in certain areas. And I would say
Oh,
drug use is probably one of those that sets him over the side.
that's fair. I guess you can be a really bad husband and dad, but he doesn't do lines in the bathroom.
That's correct. That's just that is a line that he will not cross.
Literal line, coke powder line that he will not cross.
But it is interesting because he won't cross that line. He knocks out Jimmy Dix in the bathroom, and then mere seconds later, interaction between Damien, Willis's daughter, and Jimmy Dix outside reveals that Joe Hallenbach was the biggest Jimmy Dix fan ever.
Mm-hmm.
Huge, huge football fan before the gambling, kicked him out of the league, which is interesting. So it's like as Damon even says, like, does he knock out all of his heroes type of thing? And yes, he
Face or
does.
gut, face or gut.
That's always been one of my favorites.
Just levels people. Oh, makes me happy. But do you think this movie does like you watch the Michael Bay movies or yeah, the Michael Bay movies of the 90s where there's just this crazy deep bench of supporting actors in it. I think this movie's, there were some before that, Top Gun and other Tony Scott movies, other action movies, Predator, but this one does feel kind of like an early Bay film with you have Chelsea Field, you have Noble Willingham, you have Taylor Negron acting great, Holly Berry, Bruce McGill, Kim Coates. You have all like all these like Tony Longo. You have this really deep bench, or Frank Collison too, the hitman. Like you have this deep bench of character actors or up and comers just popping up in the movie for small roles and just knocking it out of the park. I
Don't
think.
forget Rick DeComan, comedian actor dude. He's the dude at the pool that the car lands in the pool.
Oh
He's
yeah.
also he's also the like the city utility worker in Die Hard that has to cut the power to grid 212.
Man,
But
yeah.
but no, I'm glad you brought that up because I've got in my notes that one of the things I love most about this movie are those secondary and tertiary characters and just you're literally like they've been given free reign. I won't say free reign, but they've been given some leeway to develop their own personalities and characters and little ticks and traits, idiosyncrasies. And it's not just something where they're in there just to deliver dialogue and that's it. Like almost all these people that have lines in this movie have personality, and that's what I love about it. Like Kim Coates, he's got I think like three scenes in the entire movie. And his death scene is absolutely unforgettable and one of the highlights of the entire movie. But it's stuff like that where he's like he punches him and he's like screaming and laughing in his face and making some weird awkward stances and like boomba baby. Like like you can just tell like all these guys just they've got I don't know, they're just given some exterior motives to have fun with what they've got.
That's definitely a Shane Black trademark, I would say. Because you watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, there's a lot of really interesting characters. Iron Man 3 has one of the greatest henchmen ever. I think that yeah, he just knows how to. There's an unhinged quality to this. Like Taylor Negron in this movie is Milo. He's scary, and he gets a lot of room to breathe in this movie as well. They're almost a welcome. Their energy is almost welcome when you have Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis being kind of depressed, like they're both down on their luck. So then you get this crazy ass henchman coming in who's like the life of the party, and I think they kind of elevate the energy of the movie a little bit more.
He is a sophisticated bad guy.
Yeah, he
And
is.
it's such a shame too. Like you get one line with him at the beginning of the movie where he calls Billy Cole, tells him to go make some touchdowns, but you don't have a face to it. You don't have his face until I think he comes down the stairs later, like significantly later, almost like an hour into the movie, into the pool area and interrogates Joe further right after he just killed his henchman Kim Coates for not giving him a cigarette politely.
So much cigarette smoking
But
in
yeah,
this
and
movie
it,
too.
like I wish, man, I think if there's one thing with this movie, I wish we would have had more Milo. Like I want to know how that guy got to be where he is at. Like if they could have ever come up with a prequel to The Last Boy Scout, it would have been how Milo came up through the ranks.
Because he's an interesting character and he's a killer and he's mean and he definitely pops in this movie. And let me ask you a question too. Moving on to like Damon Wayans, like Damon Wayans, he, he starts off super depressed, and then he kind of has to turn into the joke guy in the film to kind of keep the energy up with Bruce Willis. Do you do you think that was just kind of added on set, like because they both can't be dour, so then they kind of made him into the like he becomes kind of a happy-go-lucky fella after a while, but after his life he would not be doing that. So it's
Well, right after his girlfriend gets murdered in front of him. Yeah, so it is.
exactly.
It's like a 180 shift to happy-go-lucky. Yeah, that's kind of sad thinking about that actually, how quickly she's forgotten about
Oh yeah,
and they
and
move on.
I think I could see why that happened though, because I think you can't have him depressed the whole movie and have Bruce Willis having a hangover the whole movie. Like you have to, like they turned him into kind of a jokester at the end. They're all happy and like smiling at the ambulance. I'm like, what just happened was insane. So I think
Yeah.
I it's definitely a film where a sad end, like these people are going to be traumatized, but you kind of leave that behind. And listen, this movie gets a lot of flack for the misogyny in it, and I agree with it, but I do think this is a film that couldn't be its true self. So a lot of things got left, like a lot of threads weren't completed. So I think there's several things in this movie that don't quite work or feel off now, but I don't think they were. I don't know. I mean, Shane Black does love killing a woman. I guess that happens in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That happens in Lethal Weapon. Nice Guys. That happens in.
Yeah.
He's like the Chris Nolan of crime comedy writers. But I guess what I'm saying is I'm not blaming Last Boy Scout because it's such a Frankenstein of a movie. So of course there's going to be threads that aren't fully explored. Does
Yeah,
that
I think it was a movie that was puzzled together with missing pieces. So it's like, yeah, they dumped out the box of puzzles, but 25% of them fell off the table and they're like, well, you got to piece this thing together with what you got. And that's what was released. So yeah, it would have been really interesting to see a director's cut of this movie.
the editors would have gone insane.
I mean, it would probably be a 3.5 hour movie, but it would have been something I would be interested in because I feel like there's so much commentary and political. I should just say political commentary that just we never dove into, like especially with the sports gambling. Like that was getting ramping up pretty big there, late
Yeah.
80s, early 90s, and they came out with the Bradley Act in 1992 that effectively banned the spread of sports gambling more or less outside of Nevada. So it's like on like a national stage, like that was a big thing. Where back then, like gambling was almost outside of Vegas, gambling was pretty much controlled by organized crime. And then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right when this movie released, 1 year later, they came out with the Bradley Act in 1992 that banned all sports gambling, and that didn't get overturned until I think 2018. So like there was legit political commentary into this movie. And then on top of that, you got the drug abuse within professional sports as well. So I mean it's yeah, there's a lot that didn't get expanded on.
And free agency and like with neo noirs, I think I have no problem when they're long because I feel like the point of them is to exhaust you. Or noir, like a good noir leaves you exhausted. Like I think you got to live in it. You got to take your time with it. You need to kind of but see, I don't know how much of a noir this was from Shane Black's original script. Like I think that's more of a Tony Scott style of shooting, because this could have been just this really has all the makings of just an action film.
Hmm.
But I think when you add Tony Scott into it, you start calling it a noir. But if Michael Bay makes it, it's a Michael Bay action film.
Well,
So
and how it was shot too. Like the first
yeah,
half of the movie, you've kind of already expanded on like how dark it is. And we're not just talking about tonally that it's dark, like visually it's also really, really dark. There's a lot of contrast in there. And yes, you've got some really, really extreme color palettes, the bright blues, the bright oranges, you know, neon type colors, but then like in the strip club for how dark it is, out in the alley where Joe Hallenbeck's about to get executed by the henchman right before Halle Berry is killed, like really, really dark, off kilter, Dutch angled shots, super high contrast, almost negative lighting type of stuff. Like he really dives heavily into that. And then, yeah, it pretty much all changes once the moment the official investigation gets underway. Then it quickly dives back into the action realm.
Yeah. So this is a four-headed monster, but it still works. And it's still a 7.0 in IMDb. So I think, what's interesting? When you have a four-headed monster with four pretty talented monsters, you're going to get something that's pretty good, if that makes sense to you. I mean, if this was four lesser monsters arguing on a set, it might turn into a total crap fest. But I mean, Ward Russell's cinematography is great. Tony Scott's style is always welcome. Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans are good. There's like the action pops. Like Ebert said that he thinks the movie's vile, but he gave it a thumbs up because he said it looks gorgeous and it's well made. So it's a movie where, you know what though, when I watched it when I was 12, I got everything the movie was going for. Like I never felt like an angle should be more explored. I kind of got what did I get what they were going for, or did I just like the action? I don't think I maybe understood the sport betting,
I just
but
like the action. And
yeah.
I didn't fully understand the sports betting until doing the research on this. I didn't realize how prevalent that was at the time until I
Mm-hmm.
started looking back on it.
Oh,
But I don't know, I love the action, pretty
I
much
mean,
everything about it. But it's really weird because it
well, let's
had a
talk about the
pretty
scenes.
had a pretty good budget too of I think 43 million,
Yeah.
which isn't the highest during that time, but I mean it's up there. Like you've got to go back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit a few years before, 50 million. You got a few others that are in that 50, 60 million range, but 43 million, that's a pretty hefty chunk of coin that they're putting out for this. And then for whatever reason, and maybe it was because of the negative press and the rough production, and it got saddled with a mid-December release date, which is odd for this type of movie.
Yeah, this is not a mid-December watch.
So it almost feels like they kind of tried to bury it in the back burner there in late December. I mean, you would think if I don't know, movies that get pushed, I don't know if this was pushed or not, or what the point of that December release was, but yeah, they clearly had an agenda going with maybe just trying to recoup their finances and get it out and get it forgotten.
Do you know what the problem with this movie though? It's not really a summer blockbuster, and it's not really a Christmas film. You don't put it in August because I think August was like the dumping ground, and they didn't want to admit that. Is this like an October movie? Is this a November movie? Is this a April? Like what like it doesn't feel like a December film to me. It's like what month is this
Yeah,
movie best for?
and really the only thing that relates to December is Darian's drawing of Satan Claus. Otherwise, like that's the only thing that
Yeah.
starts pushing in the Christmas themed area. But it's like I don't know, maybe if they had more production design and had some more Christmas themes behind it, maybe that could have brought in some more of the holiday viewerships. But yeah, it's kind of an odd movie to publicize and figure out where it needs to go in the schedule.
But it still works. It's that's why it's so interesting. It's like four different movies, but they're all pretty good, and everyone's a good actor, and it looks good. And then just like the follow, like sometimes I like, why does Bruce Willis have to be so down on his luck in this movie? I guess because that's what every gumshoe is. And also, Shane Black said when he was writing this, he was depressed, smoking cigarettes, and watching, just reading paperbacks, like hard boiled, like Pulp Fiction while writing this. So he was in a bad place. I guess he was going through a breakup. So he was kind of mad at the world. So I guess it makes sense that you have this gumshoe who's like that. And most of his films are about guys who aren't really, like, I mean, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Nice Guys. Iron Man, he kind of has a crisis. Predators, like none of those guys, a lot of those guys aren't doing too good. So I guess that's like his stock and trade of it. But it's yeah, this is a really interesting angle to pair him with a coke-addled football player. But I mean, but could, I know I keep going around in circles, Tom. I'm sorry. It's just
No,
it's a
it's a
unique
unique
film to think
it's a
about.
unique film, but I will say some of the funny moments and the people that I don't know. I've heard some things about like why is Damon Wayans on a horse at the end of that movie? Like how outrageous it gets. And it's kind of funny that it at one point, I think it's after the tape deck incident and his car explodes and Wayans is meeting him back at the precinct. He says something to the effect of, "It feels like I've just been rolled up dry and put away wet," something along those lines. And that's an old horseback. And he even says it like that's an old, oh my gosh, having a brain fart. He even says in the movie it has something to do with horseback riding. So it's like, why is this guy talking about horseback riding? So like, I don't know, for me, it comes back full circle later on in the movie. He's actually riding a horse.
Oh,
So it's like I kind of buy it. And then you kind of have this inside joke of Willis saying if he survives this whole incident, he's going to dance a jig. And at the very end, after he throws Milo through helicopter blades, he's up in the lighting rafters dancing a jig on the Jumbotron.
yeah, the horse part is kind of random, but it works. Like even if they never mention the horses, just seeing that scene where he pegs the guy in the face is pretty great.
And that might be an all-time great throw too.
Yeah, like 70 yards, 60 yards.
It's
And
got to be that. I
like
mean, he's got the best arm in the National League, so and he just got shot through the hand and he still pulls it off.
pinpoint precision into the guy, like perfect schnoz shot too. Like I think that's what he wanted. He probably didn't want to hit him in the chest. He probably wanted to hit him right in the head to move his head.
Oh, you know what? I'm now thinking about this. I shouldn't say poor Senator Maynard because he was a total
Yeah,
uh
sadistic guy.
yeah, crap bag. But I mean, yeah, he takes two big shots to the head at the end of that movie. One with the football, and then two when he encounters Joe Hallenbeck back outside, and Hallenbeck gives him the gutter head option, and he takes both. So he got beat up pretty good there at the end.
Man, that was brutal. Like you just know that guy's out there. This is the kind of movie though where every single person, there's no okay. So he's the senator and he basically kills women. Secret Service won't protect him. You have his best friend is cheating with his wife. His wife is cheating on him with his best friend. Halle Berry's blackmailing people. Jimmy Dix is addicted to drugs. His friends are like drowning people. The other cops don't trust him. Like this is a really crazy world of just everybody has something. Like the daughter's a little maniac, justifiably, but like it's I guess it's another world too where just everyone is ugly and nobody likes you. Everybody hates you. You're gonna lose. Smile, you f. Like that's
Yes, he says every morning to himself in the mirror.
oh man.
Yeah, it's the whole after the best running back in the league blows his brains out in the end zone after he just kills a bunch of defenders. Hallenbeck wakes up in his car and he says that he slept at the office. He didn't even make it to the office. At least he parked on the sidewalk.
I love when he wakes up too, just with that squirrel on him. He's like, I
And
think
it's just very, and he grabs it and he just gives it that little look. And it's not that he's disgusted. I think he's legitimately trying to figure out how that thing ended up there.
I like screwed a squirrel to death
Oh,
last night.
yes.
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah, very bleak, very few redeeming. I don't know. Maybe that's the draw to it is that we know that parts of this world exist like that, very bleak, very dark, few redeeming qualities, but yet somehow the key characters, or at least the characters that we're rooting for, find it by the end.
So with Shane Black movies, what do you think about his dialogue? Like it's great, but do you think you could listen to him all the time? Like these movies, if every movie was Shane Black dialogue, would you hate it or love it?
I think it'd become overbearing at a certain point, but for the majority of it, like some of his movies are are some of my favorites. Like this is
Yeah.
up there. I'm not going to say this is in the top 30 all-time movies, but it has a high rewatchability factor for me. Nice Guys is something I could watch every couple of weeks. Like I absolutely love that movie. I'm just so entertained by it. But yes, if everything was like that, then yeah, I mean it would get rough, especially when you would incorporate the knockoffs. It's almost like the Tarantino knockoffs. Like
Hmm.
they have their own specific style. And when too many people try to emulate that, then it just starts to get oversaturated and rough. Like not everybody has to be the smartest guy in the room at every
Yeah.
single moment. And
This
that's kind
movie
of how
is.
Last Boy Scout plays out. Like everybody can one up each other, but it's also in a limited time frame. So like if this was a 2.5, 3 hour movie, then maybe it wouldn't work. But the fact that it's an hour and 40 minutes and change, like it's entertaining. It keeps you going through it. And a lot of that is Shane Black's writing style and his banter. And another thing I'll incorporate with that too, I really like about Black, and specifically this movie, is a lot of the plot and a lot of the backstory is delivered through his dialogue in that little banter. Like you pick up on all these little details of what these characters are going through in their deliveries and what they're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like, yeah, that was just so eloquent how you said that. But yeah, they
Oh,
really
thank you.
do a good job of delivering the dialogue here. I mean, this is a well-written movie. It really is. And I love that like everyone has to be the smartest person in the room. But yeah, I think the way that they can deliver dialogue, I think just the opening scene of just a guy in a car sleeping, that says so much about him as well. And even when he speaks to himself in the mirror, that doesn't play false. It's Shane Black always does walk a pretty good tightrope of dialogue. And when people try to copy it, you just feel it so much.
And everything in this too, like dialogue wise, there's a point to it. They're not just rambling. They're not going on to some big monologue. Like there's some driving force behind what is being said, but yet it still feels natural while being the smartest guy in the room.
And I think you made a great point. If this movie was 2.5 hours, or if this movie pursued some of the plot beats more, it wouldn't be so rewatchable. Since it's a four-headed hydra of a film, nothing is lingered on too long. So you just go, you just go, you just go. Like there's no. It's nice how this movie keeps. It's quite propulsive, and I think that's one of the best things about it. Where if it was a full-on Shane Black gore violence fest that is 2.5 hours long, you wouldn't want to rewatch it much. But since this is such a hybrid, and nothing is like the gambling isn't really focused on, the adultery isn't really focused on, Halle Berry's death isn't really focused on, uh, the daughter stuff is summed up pretty quickly, fixed pretty quickly at the end. The villains, like his best friend is killed. There's some random cops. Like you, it moves so forward fast, like, and nothing is really lingered on. So I think that's another reason why it's so rewatchable and it plays well on cable, because it's just it just like flies by. And I think the most rewatchable movies are the ones that don't linger on things too hard. If that, like, I know Shawshank does, but like I think there are films out there that are just really nice comfort food watches, because you just it's zippy and you can watch. But there's also this movie's like like, I know every movie's a collection of scenes, but you could walk in at a certain point like, oh, I love this moment, or you walk into another scene, you're like, oh, I love this moment. So I think it's built for cable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's built for 10, 11 p.m. encore on an
Yeah.
old grainy TV. Like
Yes.
that's
Yes.
probably my favorite memory of even watching this thing.
Oh man, yeah. Just this is a movie you need to watch on VHS just to get all the little grit and grime. I don't know if I want a 4K copy of this film. Like I want to, I feel like I should put something, I don't know, something in like some bourbon in front of the screen and watch it through that, and this movie would be better. But hey
That's
man,
funny. I do have a VHS copy, a DVD, and a Blu-ray copy of this movie.
oh, that's when you know you love the film.
I do love the film.
I love it. Hey, any other thoughts about this movie? Any other final thoughts?
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Just shut off your brain and enjoy it. I'm not going to say it's Battleship, but it's good and it's entertaining. And if it just for the just for the cast and the crew that are in it. Like it's worthy going back and watching it and just trying to have a good time with it. And plus the violence and the death scenes, like there's some really, really good, fun death scenes. And that kind of reminds me of like what they did with Live Free or Die Hard, where they wanted like every death to have some sort of unique stamp to it. And that's what happens in this. Like all these secondary bad guys that have death scenes, they're good death. I'm not going to say any death is a good death, but like they're creative ways in how they're disposed of.
Like the guy who got his suit from Henchman's R Us, like he gets shot with a teddy bear. There's a guy, Kim Coates gets his nose through his brain. A guy goes through a helicopter blade. Yeah, there's some pretty good death in this movie.
Yeah, Noble Willingham opens up the wrong briefcase
Oh
and
yeah.
blows up his home, and I realized it on this last viewing. Unfortunately, his dogs as well. I mean, just sad
Oh.
stuff.
And then they're just laughing when they see it. Like when he blows up, everyone's just laughing about it.
Yeah, and his wife has no idea what's going on. You can clearly see. I don't even know if when they were shooting it, she looked so lost that maybe they were just laughing to laugh, and that's how they edited it in. I don't know. But she's like, you can just see on her face like what's happening right now. Why is everyone laughing?
A bad guy just blew up. And you know what's crazy? This whole thing started over blackmail, which is it's just kind of uh it was fun. You know what's sometimes I watch some of these movies for the Movie Films and Flicks podcast, and it kind of feels like work. This one, watching it again, did not feel like work. It just felt like I was revisiting an old friend, and I like that.
Yeah, it's one of those one of your old high school buddies that you haven't seen in 15 years, but you know the moment you hang up, it's going to be like old times. That's what this is. And then I don't know, just on top of looking through my notes here, just looking back at the early 90s run of Bruce Willis was really rough.
Yeah, yeah. Pulp Fiction was a comeback for him, and
Pulp Fiction
Travolta.
was like the big comeback from like but 90 to 94 up before Pulp Fiction. It was a rough go for him. And while I do like Striking Distance, it's not a particularly great movie. I will say in that span, Last Boy Scout is by far and away the best of what he had in the early 90s. And
Yeah,
Die Hard 2, I think, is really good and a serviceable movie. But it's like right after that, yeah, whatever he was releasing just took a header right into the gutter, and he was having some struggles.
he definitely was just taking movies, but I also think he had Planet Hollywood, and like he was riding a wave, and I don't know. How about this? Let's do a this came out in 91.
91, yes.
All right, let's do you want to do a quick let's do a real quick draft. Let's do a let's see. Do you want to do 1991 action movies, or do you want to do 90 to like 93 action movies? What do you want to do?
Oh man, we can try 90 to 93 action movies.
Okay. I'll let you have for like, but like not elite,
Not elite. All
like
right.
no T2,
Okay, I see what you're saying. Um,
or Point Break. Like Last Action Hero could be in the mix. So we're doing 90 to 93.
all right.
All right.
This
I'll let
might do me to start it off. I'm gonna go Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, yeah. I think you just won the poll. That one's a good movie. Okay,
Which is
Tom.
crazy because that's also a Michael Kamen score, and it sounds, these are two different movies, but this is nothing. Last Boy Scout is nothing like Prince of Thieves. Like you can tell he was having fun writing that one.
I'm gonna take Universal Soldier.
Okay, that's a good one.
I mean, because that's
Uh,
not an all-time classic or anything. That's a 92. So I'll let you go now.
does
It's
Hook count as an action movie?
nah.
No.
Like action.
Action. All right. All right. Give me 1 second here. I got to load up my list.
You want me to make a pick while you're waiting? I doubt you're gonna get this one.
Yeah, go do your pick here.
Stone Cold, Brian Bosworth, Lance Hendrickson, Biker Gangs.
Okay. Okay.
That's a great B level action film.
Man, if we had gone just a little bit sooner, I could have gone The Rock.
You got your flick chart up.
I got my flick chart up. Let's see here. That one's out of the mix. Sorry, this is going to be an editing nightmare while I'm looking through this stuff.
I mean, I just dropped it on you, so it's my fault.
Uh,
Do you want
Cliffhanger.
Whoa, yeah, that counts. Because that's not a top tier. but it's awesome. That movie's
Do you know
great.
they're supposedly making a
Yeah, they're making
kind
it
of
right
a
now.
spiritual sequel to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh, that's
Stallone is not involved.
oh, whatever.
He backed out.
So, do you think Demolition Man is an all time? Like, is it's Demolition? No, I'm going Hard Target. Hard Target, 93.
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say Demolition Man is in the mix. I mean, it's a cult
It's not
classic now, but it
T2.
wasn't. Yeah, it's not a T2. It's not a genre defining movie by any means.
Well, I'm happy with that though. I made a good one.
No, those are out. Mm, I'm going I'm gonna tank myself here. I'm gonna go Hard to Kill, Steven Seagal.
Oh, yes. That's not tanking yourself. That's a good one. Okay, I'm gonna look up. I'm taking Dark Angel. I'm pretty sure that was 1990. Let me go. Dark Angel. Yep, 1990. Dolph Lundgren film. It's great. Dark Angel, 1990. And you get one more.
You
No,
get
you have
one
two
more.
more. I
Two
have one
more.
more. You have two more. I have one more.
Um, all right, I'm gonna go 1990 as well. I'm gonna go Clint Eastwood and Charlie Sheen's The Rookie.
Oh, see, that's a good one.
That's got some wild stuff in that movie.
Okay, so I need to. Oh, that's an underrated action movie. I'm gonna take Predator 2, 1990,
Oh,
because that one's not elite, and it's the scores aren't great.
you know what's wild? I might like Predator 2 more than Predator 1.
Predator 2 is great. Danny
I
Glover's
love
awesome.
the I love the urban setting.
Yeah, it's great.
Predator hunting the city. Like
C-
I really enjoy that stuff.
City Hunter.
All right, I got one more.
Well, wait, how many do you have? Yep, one more.
All right, let me dig deep for something here. Yeah, I'm kind of
Digging deep.
scraping the bottle here. Yeah, you picked Universal Soldier, didn't you?
Yeah, I got Universal Soldier, Stone Cold,
Yeah,
Hard Target, Dark Angel, Predator. Two.
that would have been good. That'd have been really good.
Cliffhanger was 93, right?
It was.
Hard to Kill was 90.
Yes. Dude, I'm gonna go with Air America.
Hey, there it is.
I've always enjoyed that movie. Despite it being pooped on, I've always liked it.
I mean, that's what, yeah, it's just crazy how there's some very good action films and then people just hate them. Like,
Dude, in 90
like how do you watch
93 is
Robin Hood,
such
Prince
a
of Thieves and hate it? Like, how do you, I don't, and
this
people talk about the accent, but I mean, how many, there's been so many terrible accents in cinema that,
oh, I don't care about the accent at all. It's just about having fun.
exactly. And I mean, you have one of the great villain performances. You have Michael Wincott in there. It doesn't get any better than him.
That's right. He was fantastic in Metro as well.
Yeah, he's a great villain. I love that movie.
You know, it's really tough too. You cap this off at 93, where like 94 is where everything really started hitting its stride. Like 94 to 99. Like there's so much good stuff right around then.
Hey, well, this was awesome, man. Great to have you back. We're gonna do more. We just got to think of a topic. I'm
There's
sure we can
only
figure
about a million movies we could cover.
it. Yeah, send me a list and then we can do that.
Sounds good.
All
Thank you,
right,
Mark.
man. All right. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Tom Tresmer, this is Movies Films and Flicks. See you next week.